faculty, right? We're lucky. You guys are great. So I now have the pleasure and honor of conferring the degree of Honorary Doctor of Laws to two extraordinary people. The first one will be awarded posthumously to Alexander Hamilton and accepted by Douglas Hamilton, the fifth great-grandson of Alexander Hamilton. As you may know, Alexander Hamilton is one of our nation's founders, an author of the Federalist Papers, the nation's first Treasury Secretary, and a founder of a New York society that was instrumental in abolishing slavery in New York. Hamilton was also a talented and highly sought-after lawyer who left government service to engage in the private practice of law. What you may not know is that Alexander Hamilton did not have a law degree. In his time, people studied law as apprentices at the elbow of a practicing attorney, and they were largely self-taught. Alexander Hamilton studied law and studied on his own for the bar exam, like you all will, right here in Albany. Hamilton did not grow up with wealth. He was a hard worker, a brilliant writer. He was smart and talented and scrappy. In fact, he sounds like someone who would fit perfectly with you, the class of 2018.
Good day to my fellow New Yorkers. It is good to be here in Saratoga. You know, my father-in-law had a summer retreat out this way. In fact, I used to visit often with my beautiful Eliza. I see we are at some momentous ceremony. Albany Law School. Albany Law School? A school that teaches law? That is a novel thing. What a curious proposition. A school that teaches law. Unheard of where I came from. Sound like a sensible and worthy and, expensive endeavor. What was that? Why, yes, I am a lawyer. Trained by my father-in-law, General Squire. Admitted to the bar for the whole 6 months of self-study. Studied for it right here in Albany, New York. Maybe you and I have something in common. Seems I would have liked to enroll at the Albany Law School. I've had a fairly expedited path to my practice of law. In fact, I petitioned the court for allowance to move forward quickly. And when they asked why, I stated, I was busy winning the war for independence. Working for George Washington, perhaps you heard of him? And the court promptly responded in my favor. In my whole life, I enjoy the practice of the law the most. There is so much you can do with this knowledge once you have acquired it. Albany, New York. So many memories. A town full of powerful people and so many individuals who aim for greatness, and some with high integrity, and many who have fallen quite short. Perhaps you might agree. Corruption is such an old song that we all can sing in harmony. Nowhere is it stronger than in Albany. This colony's economy is increasing slowly. Honestly, that's why public service seems to be calling me. I would imagine public service might be calling many of you to practice the law in the public interest. That is a noble undertaking, I assure you. But to practice the law in whatever form is also needed in this world. Practicing the law is a noble profession. I practice the law, I practically perfected it. I've seen injustice in this world and I have corrected it. Come on, you want to try that? Come on. I practice the law and I practically perfected it. Come on. I've seen injustice in this world and I have corrected it. Come on, you can do better than that. I've seen injustice in the world and I have corrected it. Stay with it. Persevere. You will find that the law is relevant and important no matter which century you live in. Oh yes, my heartfelt congratulations on your graduation of your degree in law. If only it was possible for me to have a degree from the Albany Law School.
Well, General Hamilton, we may just be able to help you out and give you that law degree you so richly deserve. Many thanks to John Runny Monet of the Soul Rebel Performance Troupe for bringing Alexander Hamilton to life for us. Thank you. And now I would like the audience to join me in welcoming a real-life descendant of Alexander Hamilton, Douglas Hamilton, the 5th great-grandson of Alexander Hamilton. Please come up to the podium, Mr. Hamilton. Mr. Hamilton, we are pleased and honored to have you here today to share this momentous occasion with our graduates. In recognition of your great-grandfather's legal study and work in the Albany region, as well as his contribution to our nation's enduring constitution and system of government, and by virtue of the authority vested by the regents of the University of the State of New York in the trustees of Albany Law School, and by them and me, I confer upon Alexander Hamilton posthumously the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa with all the rights and privileges appurtenant thereto. Congratulations. So your law degree has Alexander Hamilton's, share a law degree with Alexander Hamilton. How about that? There we go. All right, that's pretty good.
Good morning. Thank you very much. This is a very special honor for Alexander Hamilton. And now that he's, I guess, a classmate of yours, you can take that. That's very impressive. So, what a great performance. That was excellent. Appreciated that. He just cut down my words to about a minute and a half, so that's great. So as you now know, Alexander Hamilton attended King's College, and he never graduated due to the Revolutionary War. But after the war, he made haste for Albany, and in roughly 8 months, he graduated, or he qualified to practice law in front of the New York Supreme Court. And from that point on, for the rest of his life, every professional endeavor that he undertook was from the viewpoint of a lawyer. This was particularly evident when he and 33 other lawyers were part of the process in creating the most important document in our country's history, the United States Constitution. How great you all must feel to be engaged in this profession. For his actions, primarily as a practitioner of law, he's been recognized today by the Albany Law School. I can't think of a more appropriate institution to make this award to a man who for a time called Albany home and qualified in this city to practice law. On behalf of the Hamilton family, we appreciate your respect for Alexander Hamilton, and I wish all of you similar success to that of Hamilton in your pursuit of a career in law. Perhaps even a Broadway musical on your life is in your future. When putting together the comments for today, I quite unexpectedly came across this letter from 1795 written by Hamilton, and it really just literally dropped off the shelf in my hands. After having been honored by his friends, he wrote this letter, and the response to today's presentation would be very similar, I think, to the presentation 223 years ago. And the letter would go something like this. Dear Dean Willett, among the precious testimonies I have received of the approbation of my immediate fellow citizens, none is more acceptable or more flattering to me than that which I now acknowledge. I beg you to convey to the board the expression of my high sense of honor they have done me, as well as my sincere respect for themselves. With friendship and regard, I have the honor to be your very obedient servant, Alexander Hamilton. Congratulations to all of you, and thank you for the honor.
I now have the honor of conferring the degree of Honorary Doctor of Laws on another great New Yorker. Mr. Edward P. Swyer is an incredibly successful entrepreneur and business person. Like our previous recipient, he's a founder in his own right. He had the vision and ambition to create Stuyvesant Plaza, a second downtown for the city of Albany. You can read about this and his many other achievements, some that span the globe, in the program. But we honor Mr. Swyer today for far more than his business success. Mr. Swyer is committed to creating opportunities for others to achieve the kind of success that he has achieved. He makes our community stronger, finding creative ways to support individuals who, like many of you, are first in their families to get an education, first to launch a business, and quick to give back to their communities. Ed Swyer changes lives. Ed Swyer creates opportunities, and he's done just that at Albany Law School. For many of you, a friend of the law school since his father built a law library in the 80s, and incidentally, I just learned that Mr. Swyer's father also built this, SPAC. Really comes full circle. Mr. Swyer has made a significant and lasting impact on the Albany Law School students, on our Clinic and Justice Center, and in the lives of the clients served by our clinic. He believes in the power of law and the ways in which we can build and strengthen a community and give individuals opportunities to grow and thrive by providing free legal services, help with a growing business, and wise mentorship. For more than 20 years, Mr. Swyer has supported Albany Law School's Louis A. Swyer Academic Success Program. He's helped with the clinics that serve domestic violence victims. And 2 years ago, Mr. Swyer and the Swyer Family Foundation helped us establish the Community Development Clinic, where our students, several of you, provide free legal assistance to early stage startup businesses and community organizations, helping clinics clients choose and form the appropriate entity, protect intellectual assets, access grant funding, audit employment policies, write contracts, and more. In the past year, the clinic has helped more than 90 businesses and business owners. These new businesses, in turn, have created jobs and contributed in immeasurable ways to our community. The Community Development Clinic's potential to transform our community for the better is exponential. Mr. Swyer, could you please come to the podium? As the oldest independent law school in the nation, Albany Law School has had the distinction and good fortune to convey honorary degrees on some of the nation's leading jurists, attorneys, statesmen, and public policy leaders, including Secretaries of State John Foster Dulles, Henry Kissinger, members of Congress and Senate, former governors Mario Cuomo and George Pataki. You are now among their ranks. For your inspirational leadership in business, development of our community, and your commitment to Albany Law School, and by the virtue of the authority vested by the Regents of the University of the State of New York and the trustees of Albany Law School, and by them and me, I confer upon you, Mr. Edward P. Swyer, the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, with all the rights and privileges according thereto. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dean Ouellette. Thank you to the Board of Trustees, faculty, the Albany Law School. Congratulations to the students graduating the class of 2018, my classmates. What a thrill this is to me, receiving an honorary degree with none other than Alexander Hamilton, and to share this experience with his great-great-great-grandson, Douglas Hamilton. Standing here, this is an out-of-body experience. Receiving this honorary degree is the most implausible expectation. When I received Dean Ouellette's letter stating that the trustees had voted to honor me with an honorary degree, I stared at it in disbelief. I am humbled by this award. Our family's connection to the law school started in 1985, as the dean said, when my father's construction company, the L.A. Swyer Company, broke ground for the Schaefer Law Library. The architectural firm was Mendel, Miesick and Cohen, considered one of the finest in the country. The library was my father's crown jewel of buildings and his last major project. A few years after completion of the Schaefer Library, I met with Pat Graham, Youngblood then, and Mary Dickerman, who I knew pretty well. and we launched the Louis A. Swyer Academic Success Program. I often meet students that went to the program who say that mentoring by third-year students put them on the right path. The program has been around for so many years and has helped so many students that the Swyer name became its own noun. For instance, I hear, I went through Swyer. Now it's even morphed into a verb. I was Swired. Sandra Tatum, who manages our foundation with me, has joined me in attending luncheons for years at the law school to meet the Swired students. Always a treat. Hard to keep track of time, but we soon began discussions with Mary Lynch, Professor Lynch. Her enthusiasm was and still is infectious. You know what I mean? She and her associates introduced us to the Albany Law Clinic and Justice Center, now run by Dean Sarah Rogerson. I had pondered often with Sandy Tatum, Mary Lynch, and Sarah Rogerson, and others at the law school, what could be done to assist young folks who may have survived difficulties, but want desperately to improve their lives. Most often they needed to support a family member or more and have limited or no resources. Then the idea was born, let's put them in business. The Community Development Clinic was launched in 2016 when Edward D. Barbieri joined the law school faculty, devoting a majority of his time to the clinic. What an impressive, diligent, tireless leader who began operating the CDC with incredible enthusiasm. 6 months or so afterwards, David Kraft joined the clinic as the executive director. Almost immediately, he became indispensable, coaching students, working side by side with them with total care and devotion. The Community Development Clinic, with its outreach programs, provides pro bono presentations on operating business throughout the Capital District. It's popular with law students, I'm told, especially those inspired to making the world a better place. I believe this will pay dividends in two ways. One, lifting folks out of the poverty mindset by creating real optimism. Secondly, giving the Albany Law School an image of an institution that cares deeply for its community and is looked upon as a resource and partner. Providing pro bono assistance to young entrepreneurs with dreams and aspirations will ultimately strengthen our community as more individuals pursue big goals to control their own destiny. My association with Dean Ouellette and all the fine professors, the staff, and the students has brought me great joy, and it is incredibly rewarding. After all we've accomplished together, it really feels like family. Thank you for that, and thank you for this honor.